Welcome to the ET Money Ask the Expert sessions. Today, we are joined by Mr. Vaibhav Shah, Head Product Marketing and Corporate Communication at Mirae Asset Mutual Fund. Arbitrage funds have been getting a lot of attention over the last few weeks, and today we'll discuss this fund category with Mr. Shah. Mr. Shah, thank you for taking out time and speaking to us.
Sure, thanks Rajat.
Sure, let's get started. While most investors understand how hybrid funds like balanced funds work, the same cannot be said about arbitrage funds, which are also hybrid funds. Can you tell us how do these funds really work?
Sure. So thanks Rajat for the question. So technically you're right that they may look like a hybrid fund, but essentially I would like to clearly highlight that an arbitrage fund, by the the nature of the construct of the fund, is purely an equity fund. So I know it may sound slightly different from some of the other peers, but the reason being that if you see the asset allocation strategy of an arbitrage fund, 65 to 75% has to be done in arbitrage trades, and 15 to 25% has to be kept in margin money. Now basically the margin money is basically a requirement that you need to keep with the banks as collateral for doing the transaction, and that's why most mutual funds keep it as bank FDs or term deposits, and that is used as margin money for the exchange. And 0 to 10% is kept in debt and money market instruments. Essentially, clearly the communication that we are trying to tell to our investors and partners is that the name of the product is arbitrage. So the debt component that we want to keep in this product is clearly going to be only the one that will be required for us to keep as margin money because of the regulatory requirement, and the debt component will actually be very, very small percentage, which will be only to manage the liquidity or the mark to market element. And we will not be taking, compared to some other peers, any debt related exposure in this product. So in that sense, you are right that it has some part of money in debt, but essentially when you break it down into what is the debt component, as I said, the margin money is a regulatory requirement. So I wouldn't say it's a debt component. And the other part is, like you have in any other equity product, maybe you keep some small money for managing the day-to-day liquidity. That's the debt component. So I slightly beg to differ that they are hybrid. I still clearly believe that they are an equity product and have all the characteristics of an equity product. Again, why people slightly misunderstand arbitrage, like you said, is that equity as an asset class is always said to be volatile, and people say that volatility is required, it's an inherent part of equities, and investors should take a long-term horizon when investing in equity funds. That is where clearly arbitrage funds come out very, very differently. This is one of the only categories where actually volatility works in your favor. So as volatile as the markets are, and we typically see the way the markets are, they move either in W shape or M shape, whatever shape you call it, means it goes up and down. Now a simple buy and hold strategy may not deliver returns during this time, but a very active strategy which you can do in an arbitrage fund can deliver returns. And historically we've seen that arbitrage funds have done considerably well in volatile markets, be it 2008-9, between 2013, 2011 to 13 period and 2015-16 period, and even 2020 period, which we are having in the first 3 months. So it is an equity fund, but characteristics is again slightly different. Your volatility is your friend rather than an enemy. So these are some different aspects we think that an arbitrage fund brings to investors.
All right, sure. So Vaibhav, we understand what you just said. Let's talk about how arbitrage funds really work, because that understanding is in itself not there for a lot of people. Can you just walk us through how arbitrage funds generate returns?
Sure. So thanks, Rajat. I think so. Rightly pointed out by you. It's very, very essential to understand how an arbitrage fund works. So if you see the definition of arbitrage, it's basically the simultaneous buying and selling of a security in different market conditions. So essentially 3 different things that you have to consider in an arbitrage fund. First, it's a simultaneous buy and a sell transaction that you do. Second is you are doing this transaction in the same security, but the difference is you're doing it in different markets. So these are three key words that need to be understood. So let me give an example of an arbitrage transaction, which is usually done. Let me rephrase it and say, let me start with a practical example of how an arbitrage would happen. So, currently it's a mango season which is going on. And you see that the mango is, sold at different prices in different marketplaces. Now, think yourself as not as an investor, but as a businessman. What you would do is you would try and buy a mango from, say, Gujarat, where the mango is available at, say, 200 rupees per kg, and you sell it in Mumbai and sell it at 250 or 300 rupees a kg. Essentially, it's the same mango. What you're trying to do is you're trying to take advantage of the price inefficiencies. And this is what an arbitrage fund does. So it takes advantage of the price inefficiencies which are there in the market. And so when there are, markets, like in India, you could say we have mainly the cash market and the futures market. And usually the futures market straight to a premium to the cash market because there is a cost of carry involved. That's where you can take an advantage of arbitrage. To make it more simpler, let me give an example. Say Reliance Industries is trading at 1500 in the cash market, and the futures price of that same security is 15 and 1520. So what you would do is you will buy Reliance Industries in the cash market at 1500 and you will sell it in the futures market at 1520. Now during the entire period, whenever at the last day of F&O expiry, the cash and the futures market converge to one price, and at that time you will reverse the trade. So you will sell Reliance Industries on that day and buy the futures of Reliance Industries. Now let's take example that there are three different scenarios that can happen. Reliance price goes up to 1600. In this example, you would make 100 rupees in the cash market, but you will lose 80 rupees in the futures market. So your net profit remains 100. Now Reliance goes down and goes to 1400. Then you will lose 100 rupees in the cash market, but you will make 120 rupees in the futures market. So your profit is again booked at 20. And assuming on the last day the price remains same at 1500, then you're on cash market, you earn nothing, but in futures market you make 20 rupees because you had sold at 1520. So all three scenarios where you see price going up, going down, or remaining stable, you're making that same fixed spread of 15 basis or 20 rupees. And that's what arbitrage funds typically do.
Sure. So moving on to the next question. As you mentioned, they take advantage of price differences in the cash and futures market. What happens when the sentiments are weak and the future market is quoting a lesser price than the current price of the stock?
Sure. So, excellent question, Rajat, that you had asked. And that's a question which is there in a lot of people's mind. That what happens when, the future price is at a discount to the cash market. And it's something that we are seeing in the current market scenario as well, that the futures are trading at a discount. I think so clearly what we want to highlight, and maybe like I had started my conversation with, it's not that the first time that we are seeing futures trading at a discount to the cash market. So if you see 2008, 2009 stage, that was during the Lehman crisis, we've seen a lot of months where futures were trading at discount, or like the few examples I gave between 2011, 13 and so on and so forth. We don't need to go even that far. Even in the month of March, when market had gone down 25%, the Nifty was down 25%. During this time also the futures at the initial stage were trading at a discount. But we have to understand that market never works in a very linear manner. And so it always has bouts of optimism and pessimism. What we have seen is, in the last 2 weeks, market is up more than 10%. And, the futures, I'll give you an example. The Nifty futures were trading at about 80 to 100 basis points discount to the cash market. But now, the futures have actually moved to the premium. So that's how sentiments quickly change. So what an arbitrage fund can typically do is whenever these spreads try to widen up, that's a time they can lock in the returns. And in fact, when they go to negative, it's a time you can unwind the trade. So like I mentioned, volatility works for these funds. Whenever there are negative spreads, I want to also say that it's not that negative spreads are there across all securities. So if you see the universe for doing these um, arbitrage funds is more than 140 securities. So out of 140 securities, you will definitely see a large chunk of securities always trade to a premium compared to the market. And essentially, you have to find out those opportunities that are present. One last point, Rajat, and because this is a most talked about thing in the last couple of weeks, and a lot of articles and news has been around this, is that we have to consider that in the last 40 years of how the Sensex has behaved, we say Sensex over long periods of time gives about 15% return. It doesn't mean that Sensex gives 1.25% return in Jan and February is 1.25 in March and so on and so forth. You would see typically that in a month market could be up 5%, it could be down 5% the next month. But when you extend your time horizon, you would see that the index is able to give about 12-15% CAGR over long periods of time. The same is true for an arbitrage fund. When the volatility or spreads are high, the funds can give you much better returns, could give you 7%, 8% kind of return. When spreads do narrow down, it can give you 4%, 5% return. But when you see over long periods of time and an average, over 3-6 months, if your time horizon is there, you would typically see that these products have the ability to give you 6% plus minus 50 basis points as the returns based on at least the historical trend that we've seen. So you have to see a product not based on 1 month or 15 days, but at least 3 to 6 months to give a right picture of how market will behave.
There are times when the spreads are negative. During that time, where is the money kept by the arbitrage funds when there are no arbitrage opportunities?
Sure. So, like I had said, Rajat, in the earlier question that because there is a pool of more than 140 securities to choose from, so you try and place and do an arbitrage trades based on the spreads available with you. Now, for incremental money, where you feel at the moment there is no opportunity available, what you could look at is either keeping some money with the term deposits with the bank or very short duration debt and money market instruments. Typically, what we want to highlight and mention is the exposure to short is very essential to keep your investments in short duration debt instruments. Because if you were to buy a 6 months or a 1 year kind of a bond and you want to sell it, then you are bringing an M2M element of the bond price in this fund. So ideally, you should keep your money in very short duration CDs or term deposits. And at that time, when you see the opportunities coming back, it's a time you can increase your arbitrage exposure. Again, the Income Tax Act, what it states is that it looks at the average of the opening and closing of the arbitrage or the equity exposure over 12 months period to decide whether if overall if you exceed 65%, the fund gives you benefit of equity fund taxation. So if there is a period where your arbitrage exposure is 60 or 63% or you're on borderline for a particular month, it doesn't change your tax status immediately. It will look at a 1 year track record and consider both opening as well as closing of the balance kept in arbitrage to decide your taxation. So there is a good leeway that the Income Tax Act also provides.
Okay, so you mean even if you're putting the money in debt for short duration over a period of time, it will be equity taxation no matter what happens? Can we say that with certainty that irrespective of whatever happens, you will always get equity taxation on an arbitrage fund?
See, I think so. It is very important for each AMC to ensure that they keep more than 65% in arbitrage, right? If the asset manager, wants the product to be taxed as a equity, it has to make sure that the arbitrage has to be kept to that extent. Even in the worst case, to make sure that the taxation doesn't work negative for investors, is to also look at, in case there are few periods where the spreads are lower, but yet the product gets you the equity fund taxation, you should be able to lock in your money at lower spreads so that you don't change the taxation of the fund. So as you would understand, in an equity fund on a short-term basis pays 15%. or a debt product is actually at 30%. So the tax difference is quite significant. So it's very important that asset managers consider all of this to make sure that it is always more than 65% at all periods of time.
Sure. So you also mentioned this, Vaibhav, some time back that some AMCs have recently warned investors of near-term losses or poor returns due to spreads turning negative. Can you explain what is happening and for how long this situation will continue?
Sure, so Rajat. So essentially, like I had said in my earlier answer, that arbitrage returns are never linear. So I think so. If you were to talk about how market behaved in the month of May, May was also a challenging month for markets. In fact, sentiments were also quite weak in the month of May. And it's only in the last couple of weeks, as the economy is opening up, that the sentiments have started to improve. And currently we are going through sort of a global liquidity-driven rally where not only India, most of the global markets are also doing well because most of the economies have started opening. So if you were to put May, and in that period, it had a very bad sentiments when it started the month. But when you see the returns of most of the arbitrage funds in the month of May, they were quite decent. And the reason being because you got the advantage of the volatility to do maybe a couple of transactions. So suppose let's give an example that you buy a security A at price 100 and you sell the futures at 101. And market sentiments become quite bearish. And the security price on the cash market falls to 95. And the future price actually falls below and goes to 94.5. In this scenario, you will lose 5 rupees in the cash market, but actually you will gain 6.5 rupees in the futures market. So your gain is actually 1.5 rupees. So when you entered into the arbitrage, you are actually made a profit of 1 rupee because the spread difference was 1. But because the futures started trading at a discount, you started making some higher returns. Maybe a reason why some of the companies may have said that returns may not is to also highlight to investors that maybe the returns that were generated in May may not repeat. Right? It's very easy to extrapolate that if last 1 month or 2 month or 3 month returns are this, future also should showcase the same level of returns. And maybe the communication could be because of that, because they have actually got incrementally slightly higher returns because the futures had moved to the discount. Maybe as market scenario normalizes, those extra profits may not happen. And as I said, market returns are never linear. So you have good months, you have below average months. We have to see on an average basis what this category is able to deliver.
Okay. So moving on to the next question, Vaibhav. Arbitrage funds are often positioned as an alternative to liquid funds. Is the risk similar, or as an investor, you are taking more risk by opting for arbitrage funds?
Sure. So I think that's an excellent question that you asked, Rajat. And that's first, the answer should be relating to what is the investor's time horizon. Right. So liquid funds, that if you see how the liquid fund category used to work in the past, it used to work on the thought that you could park your money for 1 day. And now with 7-day exit load period there, ideally if an investor has a time frame of more than 7 days, he can park in liquid funds. Now how an arbitrage fund works is it typically tries to lock in the spread between cash and futures at the start of the month. In between the month, there will be a lot of volatility. And there may be periods where 1 day, 3 day, 7-day returns may be negative because the cash and future prices may change based on how sentiments are. I believe if the investor's time horizon is more than 1 year, 1 month, and closer to about 2-3 months plus, that's where arbitrage fund clearly stands out much superior to a liquid fund. Because one, as I said earlier, clearly gives you the tax advantage. Second is what we are seeing in India and maybe globally is that interest rates are moving down globally. Right? You are seeing 35% of the world at negative interest rates. US interest rates are at 0.5, 0.7 kind of interest rates. And the RBI also has done significant amount of rate cuts in the last 1.5 years. So in interest rates, if you see in India, are also moving down significantly. And in this scenario, I think so arbitrage again comes out having much better return potential compared to liquid funds.
Sure. So, in terms of risk, then, Vaibhav, would we say that the risks are almost on the similar level, or there is lesser risk or more risk, liquid versus arbitrage?
Sure. So the risk is there if you invest for a very short period. Right. So if your time horizon is 1-2 months, I think so the risk would be significantly lower. Second is, I think so in most of the liquid funds which are well managed, you wouldn't see any credit issue or issues arise. Maybe there could be an impact because of liquidity, and if there is a run on the size of the fund, and it faces huge liquidity pressures, then it may have to sell the bonds at a discount, which I think so is not a big risk which you would see in an arbitrage fund. However, I think so, and maybe it's my own personal estimate, that like we say in the mid and a small cap, that it is always good to have a mid and a small cap which is smaller in size, because it gives you the flexibility of moving around quicker. So if your fund size is not too big, it works out okay. If the fund size is quite big, it could be a risk even for an arbitrage fund or for a liquid fund. But a smaller size arbitrage fund, I think so, should have better opportunities if run well compared to larger ones, and liquidity doesn't impact it as significantly.
Okay, all right. So sure. Moving on to the next question, Vaibhav, and it's again liquid versus arbitrage, because that's how they are positioned. Liquid funds are recommended for up to 1 year of investment horizon. Are arbitrage funds also suitable for this investing horizon?
1 year, you said, right?
Yeah, up to 1 year. Yeah, up to 1 year.
Sure. So I think so the advantage on arbitrage is that even if you do over 1 year, right, you get moved from 15% tax bucket to a 10% tax bucket, and that really works well for an arbitrage fund. So I think so if your time horizon is even 1 year or slightly above 1 year, arbitrage should be okay. I think so once you increase your time horizon to maybe 2 or 3 years, that's when you see a lot of volatility goes down, and the other categories also seem to be much superior options. So an equity savings fund is again a very good category, because it has 30-35% equity, it has about 30-40% arbitrage, and it has remaining about 20-30% fixed income. So it's a beautiful category for someone to start taking somewhere between 1 to 2 or 3 years kind of an exposure, where equity kicker also comes in. And we've seen historically even periods when 1 year returns of markets have been bad, market tends to do better over the next subsequent year. So I'm saying if your time horizon goes to 2 years plus, then it's equity savings. 1 year or 15 months also, I think so, if people do arbitrage because of tax benefit from 15 to 10, it should work in investors' favor.
All right, so moving on to the last question, Vaibhav, what are the key things an investor should look at while deciding on which arbitrage fund he should invest in?
Sure. So I think so what is most essential to do is to look at some of the factors. And again, this is my personal thought process, and a lot of advisors and sites like yours can help guide investors a lot. So first, I think so, like I mentioned, the size of the fund, because critical. I believe smaller the size makes you nimble. Second is you should see the track record of that fund house on how they have been managing their equity part across time frames and across different cycles. So if you believe it's a good pedigree equity fund house, then ideally you will believe that they will have the processes to carry out arbitrage strategies as well. Third is you have to see the consistency of their track record. So if it's an existing fund, you can see the track record over different cycles. And ideally, it's never good to see a point-to-point return. You should try and do as many rolling return analysis as possible to give you the right one. Fourth, because it's the returns are not too high. So expense ratio plays a very, very important role in these products. So it's very important to look at what is the expense ratio charged by these products in the direct plan as well as the regular plan, so as to make sure that the returns are not impacted significantly. And I think we also need to look at exit loads. What is the time frame of exit loads? In case you want your money back, what is the minimum time frame that you need to keep your money for? And last, sorry, just to add, just also because of the way that we are seeing volatility in the fixed income market over the last couple of years, very, very essential to also see what is the fixed income strategy that the fund is using. So I would like to believe that it's imperative that each AMC becomes true to label and follows what is the category. So if it's an arbitrage fund, returns should be generated by arbitrage and not by fixed income, or vice versa. So if your debt strategy is kept simple, doesn't take any duration or credit risk, then it should really help investors. It may give you slightly lower return, but it remains true to what category we want to invest in. When any fund start taking longer duration bonds or instruments, you try to take risk of credit, duration, and liquidity in the portfolio. So that's again an element that investors should look at. So maybe these 5-6 things are things that investors should definitely look at while assessing which of the funds to invest in.
Sure. And with this, we come to an end of our video. Vaibhav, thank you so much for taking out time and talking to us.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.